My name is Vincent, otherwise known as Vinny G Gamer, and this is my first ever video. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm also excited. So today we're going to be going over one of my favorite card games, if not my favorite card game ever, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's really fun, and this video will just be an introduction on how the game works, how to play it, for all those new players who wanted to try it but never got around to it. This will be the first in a series of videos that will explain how the game works and just over the basics. So if you're interested, keep on watching.
So for those of you wondering, how does a Yu-Gi-Oh game even work? How do you play? Well, it's simple. Each player has a deck of cards comprised of monsters, spells, and traps, and the objective of the game is to reduce your opponent's life points to 0. Now, we'll go over the 3 main cards in the deck: monsters, spells, and traps. So for now, let's start with monsters. So there's a lot of things that go on monster cards that I'll go over in detail. So, and these guys will be the main source of your wins in the deck, because that's how you're going to attack and reduce your opponent's life points down. But before I explain how that works, let's go into the 2 different types of monster cards. So there's these yellow ones and these orange ones. Now first we'll go over these yellow ones. These are called normal monsters. They have no special ability and no special effect, and what you see is what you get. Whereas these orange ones, like Ganbara Knight over here, has a special effect, and it'll usually say on the card if it's got a special effect. So for example, his effect is, when he's in face-up attack mode, I can change it to defense mode. So each monster that's orange has a special effect that might be able to help you out. Also on monster cards are their attack points and defense points. So attack points and defense points are really good when it comes to battling. It's basically their stats. In addition to effects and no effects, there's also 6 different types of attributes a monster may have. There's fire, earth, water, wind, dark, and light. You can usually tell what attribute it'll be if you look in the top right corner. It'll have some sort of orb or sphere telling you what kind of attribute it is. Next thing I want to go over is each monster has a type. You can usually find it rather in the bottom left corner. It'll say warrior, dragon, what have you. There's 24 different types of monsters. I have one of each to show you right now. So there's the warrior, there's dragons, there's reptiles, beasts, fairies, pyro, sea serpent, winged beast, fish, insect, plants, fiends, well, that's a warrior, cybers, beast warrior, spellcaster, machine, thunder, psychic, aqua, rock, zombie, worm, dinosaur, and lastly, you won't really see this one as often considering there are only 3 types. There are only 3 cards that are this type, but you can also, lastly, the divine beasts. The divine beasts are a special case. There's 3 of them. They're known as the 3 god cards, but we'll get into that in a later video. But for now, there's 24 different types of Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. And if you ever are unsure about what type of Yu-Gi-Oh monster is, just look in the bottom left corner. It'll state. The next type of card you're going to want to know is spell cards. In addition to monster cards, these cards are also crucial to run in your deck in order to reduce your opponent's life points to 0. They all have cool little effects that you can play from your hand right away that can either maybe aid your monster in boosting its power, maybe stopping your opponent from attacking. There are a lot of different effects. But what I want to do right now is go over the different types of spell cards. There's 6 different types of spell cards. So first off, there are the normal spell cards. Now usually with every other type of spell card, there will be a little logo identifying what type of spell card it is. But because this is a normal one, there's no little logo. So normal spell cards, you just play from your hand, or during a turn you can set them face down so they're unknown to your opponent. The next type is quick play. Quick play spells are symbolized by a lightning bolt where it says spell card. There's a little lightning bolt logo. So quick play spells, when it's your turn, you can use them at any point in the turn. Hence the name quick play, meaning you can play them quickly at any point during your turn. Near the end, at the start, right in between, whenever. Another reason why they call it quick play is because if you set it face down, you can also use it at any point during your opponent's turn. Hence why they call it quick play. Next type of spell is an equip spell, noted by the plus sign next to where it says spell card. That's how you know it's an equip spell. Equip spells are really helpful towards your monsters, or even can be detrimental to your opponent's monsters, because what they do is, for example, if I get my monster, the Tricky here, equip spells can be activated and then will attach to a monster, hence why it's called equip. It'll be equipped onto it to give it some strength or some bonus or some sort of advantage. And it'll stay on the field for as long as that monster it's equipped to stays on the field. The next type of spell I want to go over is a ritual spell, which will be noted by the little fire logo where it says spell card. Now, ritual spell cards are vital for a special type of summoning called ritual summoning, which I'll go over in another video. But all you need to know is that you can use them during your turn, and it'll help you bring out a stronger monster from your hand by offering up other monsters from your hand or field for the ritual. Next type of spell I want to go over is the field spell. The field spell is a special type of spell because once you activate it, it stays in the field for as long as possible until it's destroyed by something, and depending on what it says, can actually affect all monsters on the field, hence why it's called a field spell. It affects the entire board. And the last type of spell I want to go over is a continuous spell, which is noted by the infinity logo next to where it says spell card. So continuous spells, once you use them, they stay. They're permanent unless they're destroyed by something by your opponent. But once you activate a continuous spell, its effect lingers on the field forever until it's destroyed by something. But with other spells, say for example, a normal spell, once you use it, it's considered used and goes to the grave. But that's not the case with continuous spells, hence why they're called continuous. And lastly, I did forget to mention, so for a field spell, it's noted by the little ninja star next to where it says spell card. And yeah, those are the 6 different types of spell cards. You guys exhausted yet? I don't blame you if you are, but there's just one more type of card left that goes into the main deck before we're done with this tutorial. So the last type is called trap cards. Now, unlike spells, there's only 3 different types of trap cards. There's your normal traps, which will have no logo at all beside them, hence why they're called normal traps. Next up, you have, just like spells, there are continuous trap cards, which, just like spells, have the infinity logo beside where it says trap card, and once you activate it, just like continuous spells, will stay on the field permanently until it's destroyed by something. But the one unique type of trap that isn't like a spell card is the counter trap, which is noted by the counter arrow pointing to the left where it says trap card. Counter traps are really special. Now, depending on what the counter trap says, there's a certain condition that has to be met before you can use it, but when that condition is met, you can use it to counter whatever is happening on the field, and you can activate it as soon as that happens, hence why it's called a counter trap. But the main difference between traps and spells is that spells you can actually activate from your hand right away, but with traps, the cool thing about traps is you actually have to set them face down first before you can use them. And they'll be completely unknown to your opponent, hence why they'll be called traps, because they'll be falling into your trap when you use it at the right time. Okay, so to recap, the most important thing you want to know when you're learning how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the main deck and what you're supposed to build it with. Well, the main deck consists of monsters, spells, and traps. Monsters are used to either attack or defend your life points, depending on what their higher attack or defense stat is. Spells are used to help you out with that objective, with maybe they can inflict damage to your opponent, destroy a monster they control, like Smashing Ground here does, or maybe they'll maybe give you some extra life points. But spells are really useful because they have really neat effects to help you out. And traps, just like spells, have neat effects to help you out, but they're always set face down first so that your opponent never sees what's coming.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe and share the video with your friends if you want to spread the word around about how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you guys drop some comments or want me to follow your channels, I'll be happy to reciprocate the love. Peace.